G'day guys, Sammy Gordon here from Australian Property Scout. I'm here for another Wise Wednesdays new hot tip of the week. For this week's hot tip, it's actually a flow on from last week and the question we had last week regarding positive cash flow, and it's from Jennifer. And she's written in asking, should you still buy a property if it's running negative or slightly negative? Now, actually the question in particular was, should you still buy a property if it's running $1,000 negative per annum? Now look guys, really, when it comes to cash flow, and I know a lot of people are talking about cash flow now because we've had so many golden years of cash flow being epic, right? Like having massive cash flows off so many different deals, and deals that wouldn't normally put positive cash flow were positive cash flow. So a lot of people have got their heads in the cloud thinking you should only invest if you're getting positive cash flow. I think it's very important to look at your strategy and your overall portfolio and look at what do you actually need in your portfolio. Now, and also it comes down to specific property as well. But let's look first at the property and what you need in your portfolio. Now, if you're building out a nice little solid dual portfolio, right, like I like to talk about, where you're getting a portfolio of positive cash flow deals and a portfolio of growth properties, right? With the idea of when the growth properties go through their cycles, you sell them off, use the profits, you pay down the positive cash flow deals. Now, this is beautiful, right? It's a great strategy. But ultimately, some of these growth properties you might buy, especially you're buying in the right location, you're buying at the right price, you might buy it off market or whatever. Now, buying at the right price, sometimes we can get deals at a really good discount because they've locked in a tenant at a low rent for another 12 months. That gives us a really, really strong negotiating position. Now, a lot of people get this stuffed up and they go, oh, it's renting for $100 less than market rent per week. That's gonna cost me, that's $40 a week negative, which is $2,000 a year. And they look at it and it blows their mind, oh, I can't do it. Not looking at the longer term picture of, well, in 12 months, that's gonna go up $100 a year, if not more, if it's in the right location. So it's gonna turn $3,000 a year positive as opposed to being $2,000 a year negative. Now, if they can secure that deal at a 30 or a 40 grand discount or whatever, for the sake of a 12-month lower rent hold period, which in essence, $100 a week below market rent is $5,000 a year. So if you can get it, let's say 30, 35 grand below market, you're literally talking 25 to 30 grand a year, 30 grand as a discount when you take that 5,000 off. A lot of people get the blinkers on and they make the mistake of looking at it, oh no, it's got that soft rent, and they sacrifice it on that front. So if you're looking at your portfolio and you're having a good look at it, you need to pair these right deals up. I would never forsake a deal like that just because initially, or even if it's not initially, and if it is a great deal and everything stacks up, but it just runs slightly negative because of the style of property or where it is, it doesn't mean I wouldn't put it in the portfolio. If you've got a nice balance, and if you're building in these nice cash flow deals and these bread and butters, if one or two of the bread and butters are running slightly negative, it's not, to me, it's not a make or break. It's not a break, If it's a make or break, it's not a break. If it fits into the portfolio well, great growth location, you're getting it at a discount, it's okay to have properties like that in the portfolio. So to answer your question there, Jennifer, it definitely is. It's all good, it's okay, it's not the end of the world. It just really depends on the risk profile as well and the actual investor's personal profile. If you need positive cash flow and high yielding assets to keep going, obviously something like that probably isn't going to be the right asset for you. But if you're maybe a higher income earner or you've got a couple of cash flow deals in there already, or the cash flow in the portfolio is nicely balanced, then you're all sweet. So I think that's probably the big thing to kind of note in there. One of the other things is is the market that you're in, are we looking at rising interest rates, rising rental rates? So you've got a few different scenarios here that might be playing out, but one of the other big things is, you're buying it at today's dollars and we are in a higher interest rate environment at the moment. Over the next couple of years, our interest rates potentially going to retract a little bit and come back down a little bit, potentially in the next 12 to 18 months, which I believe they may do. But in that meantime, are we going to see rental rates continue to rise? I know a lot of the areas that we're buying in, we've seen extremely strong rental growth over the past 1-2 years, and it's still rising. If you're in one of those markets, a lot of the time, people are cashing out of owner-occupiers, especially if they're having a bit of trouble with mortgages, they might be cashing out. That puts additional pressure on the rental market, which will keep your rents moving. So even at today's rates, literally if you're $1,000 a year negative or $2,000 a year negative, you're talking $20 to $40 a week in terms of rent, right? It sounds like a little bit, but if we're talking $20 to $40 a week in rent, if you got a $400 a week rental, you're talking 5-10% of a rental growth is all you need to then that property be turning and running positive. So don't get too hung up, guys. Everyone's been a little bit of we've been through this golden era of super low interest rates and everything running positive. Don't turn away a good deal just because it might be slightly negative. If you're in the right market, that will definitely outweigh and outbalance it. And you got to remember, you got to keep your eyes on the prize for that long-term goal. They aren't in there to provide positive cash flow. Bread and butters and growth assets, they aren't in there for that reason. So you're going to be selling them off to debt reduce down the track anyway. So I wouldn't be getting too hung up on it. And if it was only a small amount like that, it wouldn't worry me. If it's on the big end and we're putting an extra zero on the end and we start talking, 10 grand plus or even 10 grand plus, it's a different story. Most people can't sort of carry that. And realistically, I'm not really a fan of carrying something that's that big. But if it's a small amount, guys, I think it's more than okay to carry something like that if it's gonna suit you, your brief and your profile and what you're trying to build within the portfolio. I hope that was helpful, guys. If you need anything else, always feel free to reach out to us, www.australianpropertyscout.com.au, or flick us a direct message as well, and we'll get back to you on any questions. Also, guys, go and check out the new podcast. It's one of the highest rating podcasts in Australia at the moment. We've overtaken a lot of the big players in terms of business podcast growth. I don't know how, but it's happening. So go check it out. Scouting Australia, guys, on all the big platforms. You've got your Spotify, your iTunes, all that sort of stuff. Go check us out, guys. Leave us a 5-star review. I'd really appreciate it. And like I said, guys, any other questions, feel free to write in, and we'll answer all the good ones. All right, guys. Thanks heaps, and get amongst it.